A calm and harmless deer turns into a deadly killer after humans ruin the forest with their greed. The movie begins with the story of a young deer named Bambi living peacefully in the forest with his mother. One day, while they are calmly walking together, a hunter suddenly appears and shoots Bambi's mother, killing her instantly. Still very young, Bambi is left alone, heartbroken, and forced to survive in a cruel and unforgiving world. As time passes, Bambi grows into a full-grown deer. For a while, his life becomes happy again when he finds a mate and later becomes a father. But this peaceful life does not last. A radiation company begins damaging the forest, bringing destruction with it. During this chaos, Bambi's mate is hit and killed by a speeding truck, while his young child runs away in fear and disappears. Soon after, someone attacks Bambi from behind, knocking him unconscious. Not long later, a representative from the Wilbexer company carelessly dumps toxic chemical waste into a river deep inside the forest. When Bambi regains consciousness, broken by the loss of his family, he walks to the river to drink, unaware that the water has been poisoned. The chemicals begin to change his body in a terrifying way, turning him into a violent and monstrous creature driven only by rage and a deep desire for revenge. The story then shifts to three hunters working for the Wilbexer company. Tyler is practicing his shooting skills while Michael supervises him, and Eddie stands watch over the forest around them. Elsewhere, a woman named Xana is shown talking on the phone with her ex-husband, Simon. She is upset because Simon cannot attend his family's Thanksgiving gathering due to work. Even though they are divorced, Xana still has a good relationship with Simon's family. She ends up taking a taxi to the gathering with their young son, Benji. During the ride, Benji suddenly feels sick, forcing the taxi to stop so he can throw up. After a short break, they continue their journey. While the driver looks for candy to help Benji feel better, a massive deer suddenly appears out of nowhere and violently flips the taxi over. The animal is revealed to be Bambi, now fueled by anger and revenge over the loss of his family. The driver is crushed and killed inside the wreck, while Xana and Benji struggle desperately to escape. They manage to get away, but Xana is forced to leave her phone behind in the destroyed taxi. Meanwhile, Simon's mother, Mary, is standing outside her house near the forest, repeatedly calling out Bambi's name. She seems to share a strange emotional connection with the deer. It is revealed that Mary suffers from dementia, which is why Simon's brother Andrew and Andrew's wife Harriet must constantly watch over her. When Harriet notices Mary standing outside alone, she gently guides her back into the house. Andrew and Harriet have a young son named Harrison. He is badly spoiled and lacks basic manners, often behaving rudely toward others. He even mocks his grandmother Mary, treating her as if she is not in her right mind. Not long after, Xana and Benji arrive at Mary's house, clearly shaken and breathing heavily from the terrifying attack. Around the same time, Simon is seen on the phone with the same three hunters shown earlier in the forest. Their conversation suggests that there is an urgent situation that must be handled that very night. At the house, Xana explains what happened and tells everyone about the deer named Bambi that attacked the taxi and killed the driver. Andrew wants to call the police, but the signal in the area is too weak. He asks his younger brother Josh to climb a nearby hill to try and get reception. Meanwhile, Xana notices that Benji has a cut on his leg from the shattered glass and quickly cleans and treats his injury. Elsewhere, the three hunters come across the wrecked taxi and find the driver dead inside. Eddie discovers Xana's phone in the vehicle and shows it to the others. Suddenly, a loud crashing sound echoes through the forest, caused by Bambi moving nearby. The hunters immediately follow the noise. As someone approaches them in the dark, Tyler accidentally fires his gun toward Josh, who is on the hill searching for a signal. The bullet kills Josh instantly. Realizing the seriousness of what just happened, the hunters decide to hide Josh's body to keep the killing a secret. Meanwhile, back at the house, Xana continues cleaning and treating Benji's injury. She becomes increasingly annoyed by Harrison's rude behavior toward his grandmother, Mary. After Harriet calls Harrison away, Benji starts paying closer attention to Mary. He becomes curious about her strange actions, noticing how she talks to herself and constantly writes and draws in a notebook. Mary seems deeply unsettled, almost as if she is living in fear. As Benji looks at her drawings, Mary suddenly stares blankly toward the garden, as if she is waiting for something to appear. Moments later, Bambi violently crashes into the house. Andrew and his family are completely shocked as the massive deer immediately begins destroying everything inside, sending everyone into panic. Harriet, overwhelmed with fear, hides inside the bathroom. However, Bambi finds her, breaks in, and attacks her. At the same time, Xana, Mary, Benji, Andrew, and Harrison rush outside, trying to escape in the car parked in the yard. As Andrew struggles to start the engine, they suddenly realize that Harriet is still trapped inside the house. Right in front of them, Harriet is brutally killed when Bambi bites her and tears her body apart. Terrified, they finally manage to drive off, desperately trying to escape. Even as Andrew presses the accelerator to the floor, Bambi, now far stronger than any normal deer, manages to chase the car at full speed. After a terrifying pursuit, they are eventually able to get away from the creature. Elsewhere, Simon's associates continue searching the forest and eventually reach Andrew's house, which has been completely destroyed. Behind the house, they find Harriet still alive but barely breathing, her body split in two. Unable to let her suffer any longer, Michael ends her life out of mercy. Meanwhile, after driving for some time, Andrew's group is forced to stop when a fallen tree blocks the only road ahead. Andrew, Harrison, and Xana step out of the car to figure out how to move it, while Benji stays behind, trying to calm Mary by telling her stories about his father, Simon. Outside, Andrew and Harrison tie a rope to the tree and attempt to pull it using the car. Xana goes back to check on Benji, who is now sitting alone in the driver's seat. She tries to comfort him, assuring him that everything will be okay. Suddenly, Bambi appears directly in front of the car. Acting on instinct, Xana tells Benji to drive. Unknown to them, Andrew's leg is still caught in the rope. As the car speeds away, Andrew is dragged across the road, his body badly scraped along the asphalt until he is killed. Harrison, now left alone, runs into the forest to hide. It soon becomes clear that Bambi's true target is not Xana but Harrison. Using his powerful sense of smell and instinct, Bambi begins hunting him. Realizing this, Harrison moves carefully to avoid being detected, but accidentally falls into a pile of deer droppings. When Bambi approaches, he can no longer smell a human and eventually moves away, leaving Harrison alive. Meanwhile, the car driven by Benji eventually runs out of fuel, forcing Xana, Benji, and Mary to stop. Xana steps out of the car and tells Benji to stay with Mary. That is when she realizes that Andrew has died, his face badly damaged from being dragged along the road. Benji, worried, also gets out of the car and walks toward his mother. In that moment, Mary, now left alone, begins wandering deeper into the forest. Xana and Benji quickly chase after her. Elsewhere, Harrison desperately searches for a way out of the forest. He is terrified, especially after hearing strange sounds coming from behind the bushes. He soon realizes the noise is coming from a rabbit, which annoys him so much that he kicks it away. Moments later, a large group of rabbits suddenly appears. Their behavior is unnatural, and they move much faster than normal, having been affected by the same chemical substance that mutated Bambi. Sensing danger, Harrison slowly backs away, but his bad luck continues when he trips and falls. His head becomes caught in a hunter's trap, and he is brutally attacked and eaten by the savage rabbits. This horrific event is later revealed to have been captured by a CCTV camera, suggesting that someone has been secretly monitoring the forest and setting traps, possibly as part of a plan to lure Bambi. Back with Xana and Benji, they try to convince Mary to return to the car, but she only mutters to herself and refuses to move. Benji briefly lights a flare to help them see, but Xana quickly makes him turn it off, fearing that the light could attract Bambi. Unexpectedly, Mary wanders into an area filled with piles of bones and severed human remains, making it clear that they have stumbled upon Bambi's nest. Moments later, Bambi suddenly appears and attacks them. In panic, they run for their lives. Luckily, they manage to reach the main road and escape from Bambi. On the road, they run into Michael and his team, who take them back to their base. During the drive, Xana urges Michael to report everything to the authorities, but he refuses, confidently insisting that the situation is under control. When they arrive at the base, a strange noise alerts Michael, but it turns out to be Simon stepping out from the control room. Seeing his father, Benji immediately rushes to him and hugs him, relieved and happy after being separated for so long. Xana is deeply hurt when she realizes that Simon is actually part of the hunting group. Simon had always claimed he was busy with work, but now she sees that he was involved in all of this. The two argue, and Benji overhears them, becoming even more upset since his parents always end up fighting whenever they are together. Hearing the cries of a baby deer nearby, Benji quietly sneaks away to investigate. He soon discovers that Eddie and Tyler are using Bambi's child as bait, hoping to lure Bambi out so they can capture him. This reveals a shocking truth. The same group Simon works with was responsible for killing Bambi's mate. When Xana asks to use a phone to call the police, Michael instead points a gun at her and refuses. At that moment, everything becomes clear. Their plan is to wipe out Bambi along with all the other mutated animals. Simon's pharmaceutical company had accidentally poisoned the forest with dangerous chemicals, never expecting the animals to mutate into violent creatures. If Xana contacts the police, everyone involved will be arrested and sent to prison. After leaving Michael's room, Xana suddenly realizes that Benji is missing. She immediately rushes out to search for him. Elsewhere, Benji sees Eddie threatening the baby deer, while Tyler walks deeper into the forest to relieve himself in private. After finishing, Tyler turns on his flashlight and instantly senses Bambi's presence. Without warning, Bambi attacks and kills him. When Tyler does not return, Eddie goes looking for him and discovers his dead body. Moments later, he sees Bambi approaching from a distance. Terrified, Eddie runs toward a vehicle, desperately trying to escape, but Bambi catches and kills him. Meanwhile, Benji feels pity for the helpless baby deer and decides to free it. However, his actions are spotted on CCTV by a woman named Jo, one of Michael's associates. She immediately alerts Michael. Determined not to let his plan fail, Michael rushes out to stop Benji. At the same time, Xana and Simon continue searching for Benji in the forest, unaware that Bambi's sense of smell has become incredibly sharp. After killing Eddie, Bambi nearly attacks Grandma Mary as well. Just as he hesitates, loud noises made by Jo draw his attention, causing Bambi to turn and attack her instead. Trapped inside the kitchen, Jo fires at a gas cylinder, triggering a massive explosion. The blast is so powerful that even Michael, deep in the forest, can see it. Shortly afterward, Michael finds Benji and becomes furious, ready to kill him for releasing the baby deer. Xana and Simon soon arrive and try to stop the situation from getting worse. When Benji refuses to hand the baby deer over, Michael nearly shoots him. Suddenly, Bambi appears, his body still smoking from the explosion, showing that he survived and is far stronger than expected. Bambi charges at Michael, slams into him, and drags him deep into the forest. As Xana tries to pick up Michael's fallen phone, Simon selfishly grabs it first. In that moment, Simon reveals his true nature by choosing himself over his family. Even when Benji stands face to face with Bambi, Simon abandons them and runs away. Xana finally understands that Bambi only wants his child back. She calmly tells Benji to stay still and return the baby deer. As the baby deer is reunited with Bambi, the tension slowly fades and Bambi becomes calm once again. Taking advantage of the moment, Xana quickly pulls Benji away from the furious creature. Just when it seems like the danger has passed, the tension rises again as Michael, who is somehow still alive, suddenly opens fire on Bambi, shooting him multiple times. Moments later, another gunshot echoes through the forest, this time hitting Michael directly in the head. The shot is revealed to have been fired by Mary, who has finally had enough of the violence and cruelty caused by the group. Badly injured from the gunfire, Bambi collapses to the ground and dies in front of them. Although Bambi's reign of terror comes to an end, the baby deer, now reunited with its father only briefly, appears deeply devastated. The moment carries a heavy feeling, as if the young deer silently promises that one day it may seek revenge against humans. Meanwhile, Simon drives away alone. As he continues down the road, he suddenly senses that something is wrong inside his car. He pulls over to check and is horrified to find that a mutated rabbit has somehow gotten inside. Simon is then attacked and ultimately killed by the creature.